Hello and welcome to our webinar, Convert Performance Metrics into Fun Metrics. It looks like we have everyone online, so let's get started. My name is Amber Bashar, and I will be your host and moderator for the next 40 minutes. I am a Customer Success Manager here at Quovim C3, and as my title states, my job is to ensure that we all have a successful webinar. I'd like to introduce my colleagues, Matt Brookman, Senior Workforce Management Consultant from Quovim C3, and our partner, Pascal Leclerc, VP Marketing and Product Strategy from nGAGEMENT. Say hello, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
And of course, we'll have a Q&A session at the very end, so be sure to stick around to ask your questions. Let's quickly run through what we have planned for today. Matt will walk you through what it means to truly adapt to employee engagement and what it looks like on both the management and employee side. Thanks to nGAGEMENT's engagement solution, Pascal will highlight real-world use cases that demonstrate how you can gamify your KPIs to boost employee engagement. So who is Quovim C3? Briefly, Quovim C3 is a solution and service provider focused on improving contact center operations. We've helped around 100 companies optimize their contact, distribution, and service centers while cross-channel communications and workforce optimization solutions and services. As you can see from our logos, we've worked with companies of all sizes, small, mid-sized, and large companies from all industries across the United States and Canada. Just to give you a better idea, we're currently managing a project with only 20 agents, another with 200 agents, and a larger project with over 1,000 agents. We've partnered with nGAGEMENT, who believe happy agents for happy customers can be achieved through their employee engagement platform. Their goal is to revitalize contact centers one agent at a time by engaging, motivating, and improving agent performance while gaining insights and anticipating risk. Here's an abbreviated list of the contact centers using their nGAGEMENT engagement solutions. I should highlight that if you're on the Genesis platform, both Quovim C3 and nGAGEMENT are certified Genesis partners. So let's get to it. Matt, you're on.
Thank you, Amber. Hello, everyone. My name is Matt. I'm a Senior Workforce Management Consultant here at Quovim C3. So I'd like to start with the idea where this webinar actually came from. So a few colleagues and I were wondering how many of our clients actually try to engage their employees? And if they do, how do they go about it? Because we want to learn and gain some insight on this matter, as it seems to be a real issue in several contact centers. And when I say how, I mean, how do they inspire their employees to do better? Not only for the company, but for themselves, for their own personal gain. Because let's face it, as an organization, you as an organization will gain more meaningful results when people feel personally invested and inspired. So some examples of my colleagues had, and my own experience was, sending a kudos email to congratulate an agent based on a difficult case they resolved, like a kudos email, gift card giveaways measured on a couple of key performance indicators, such as adherence, first call resolution measured on a weekly or monthly basis. Others would reward employees based maybe on a recorded call that scored well with their quality assurance team, or an email directly from a happy customer on a case that was resolved. These are all great ideas, but it doesn't really engage people. At least it didn't for myself. So it piqued my interest to as which KPIs or key performance indicators are important to individuals and organizations. So for the purpose of this webinar, my colleagues and I got together again and surveyed some of our customers, colleagues, former coworkers, and asked some people on some forums online like LinkedIn groups. So we really tried to diversify in terms of the industry and positions. We made sure not to ask just management, but employees as well. Employees who are the ones who actually are in contact with the customers. We had just about 200 responses, and we did a split results based on this criteria. So from the management end, you'll see that adherence, 39%. This is on top for obvious reasons. We're at productivity at 22%. We had sales per hour, that's at 13%, and this is high considering we only asked maybe 24 sales managers. First call resolution at 9%, average handle time at 9%, and NPS, Net Promoter Score, at 5%, and others at 3%. So these examples I just provided are very standard and important to measure in a contact center. There were no real surprises. But what I found interesting is what employees actually had to say. So the first one was closed tickets, 23%, closed versus answered. Quality at 19%. And many of the people that I spoke to, they mentioned they wanted to be measured on their quality versus their quantity of contacts taken. CSAT, which is customer satisfaction, at 15%. Schedule conformance at 15% as well. A little bit different than adherence. Conformance is the right amount of time compared to one's schedule. Commission, 12%. Payment at 9%. And that's the number of payments captured. This kind of goes hand in hand with the collections, contact centers, and other 7%. So I'll admit these results are a bit skewed. Not everyone works in a commission or payment-based contact center, but this does basically display one thing about key performance indicators, and that is management and employees have differences of opinion when it comes to being evaluated. And this is completely normal. I myself have been on both sides. So just want to backtrack to the subject of how organizations try to engage their employees. Most examples provided lack something really important, and that's the social aspect, which is paramount in today's contact centers where about half the employee base is under 30 years old. I'm going to state the obvious. Most people in contact centers don't want to remain on the phone, and the other half don't even want to be there. It's usually a start to their professional careers, and as you probably all know, have a very high turnover rate. So this is why engaging these employees is really important, not only for the reasons I just provided, but more importantly because of the ones, these are the people that speak directly to your customer. They represent your company, they represent your brand in so many ways. And with social media and rating systems, even more important now. So this leads me to my next point. I'd like to take a poll from you, the audience. How do you motivate and drive young adults to do better? I'll give it a couple minutes.
So it looks like we have a few comments coming in. So they go kind of in order here, starting with money, gift cards, entry to a larger prize. Oh, interesting, time off, as well as higher ranked when choosing shifts, and shows results from other people to motivate them.
Okay, yeah, I like the entry to the larger prize. That's actually smart. Some were great suggestions. Some were not. I was not expecting. Most did have a common theme, and that's basically giving something in return, which I understand is a huge motivator, but that does not work for everyone. Plus, there's always a cost associated with it, be it a gift card or giving extra time off or paying someone in cash, which leads me to say something that just about everyone on this webinar is thinking. Engaging your employees basically goes beyond the points, the kudos, the badges. It's much more than that. Significant element includes supervisors, co-workers, and the organization providing employees with fulfilling work environment. Almost similar to having that amazing teacher who inspired you to do better and took the time to speak to you like an adult, even though you're a teenager. But let's not forget competition. Everyone, well, mostly everyone, is more driven to do better when they're better than their peers, while some individuals are just more motivated than others. So with my experience, when it comes to motivating contact center employees, I've seen several people and several organizations fail trying to engage their employees because they try to do it manually. And some examples were, a TV displaying maybe a motivational PowerPoint presentation that needed to be updated often, but most times it sat with the same message and the same stats. Recently I went to a client and they had the stats up from March and it was mid-May. Or placing the responsibility of this on the individual manager to create and send out content to the contests to their team. Another common issue, it wasn't a consistent program, or they were competitive, but there's little recognition or room for collaboration. Most of the programs just stopped for various reasons, be it budgetary, not enough time, or just stopped being a priority. And what this did was basically tell the employees that this isn't important to the company. And in the end, it had the reverse effect. So the next time these types of contests were restarted, it had less of an impact on the team. The main objective always follows is how do we drive engagement and motivate online? So when I asked others in my network, the common theme was it's basically a circle, it's a loop. You engage your team by motivating them, having a systematic, sustained type of motivation. And with this basically comes one's natural desire to do better, no matter what level of motivation there is. That's the science behind it. We believe, gamification principles, for the most part, achieve this, if structured properly, of course. So once again, I'd like to hear from the listeners, how do you engage your teams at your centers? Please use the chat box to write your answers. I'll give you a few minutes.
Okay, so it looks like we have a few comments coming in. The first one here is they recognize employees through a prize and special events. Another one is games and competitions between each other where they do giveaways. Let's see, I think there's another one that just came in.
I see trophy hunting as well.
Yeah, there's one here that also states overly emphasizing moments when they perform well, such as high fives and site-wide kudo emails.
That's good because a lot of contact centers do tend to focus on the negative, what you've done wrong and never what you've done right. I see also competition against others.
Raffles and performance recognition.
Endless goals like open world video games. Interesting. Easy entry, but gradually increasing the difficulty. That's actually something I want to touch on. Okay, so these are great answers. Thank you very much, everyone. So prior to this webinar, I definitely did my due diligence by watching a lot of TV and downloading apps aimed at motivating and engaging employees. Some were learning sites, some were video games, some were quiz or IQ builders. I myself am a big fantasy football fan. So I looked at that, and frequently reward programs. And basically what they all had in common was, similar to some of our comments, was a progressive path. So these are levels, level 1, level 2. And this is where you could see how close or how far you are from a goal. There's rewards and achievements, which was touched on, points and badges, similar to Scouts, getting a badge, or if you're a video game fan, Easter eggs. It's not an Easter egg itself. Google it if you don't know what I mean. Challenging but achievable goals. This is what someone touched on, making it progressively harder but not too hard. And competition, so you have leaderboards and ranking, and of course the social component of having others near you or even around the world trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve as well. So just to sum it up and proceed with our headliner, Pascal, there's definitely an art and a science behind how you engage and motivate people. It's a formula that tries to get a reaction or a response from several personality types. On top of that, your main goal should be to have happy employees, so in return, they treat your customers better. But also, your employees need to hone their skills so they are better equipped to handle these customer interactions. and having this whole process automated and aligned as possible is critical. Now I'd like to pass it off to Pascal.
Excellent, thank you, Matt. So let me get my things going here. I'll get my slides up, and thank you for that introduction. Actually, you talked about a lot of points that I'm going to cover here, but I want to focus on that gamification aspect of things. Ultimately, you know, I think we all know intuitively that games work, and that you can definitely, you know, engage agents through the game concept. And I want to talk about a few use cases, but before going there, I want to add a bit of more context around the gamification aspect and how it works. Definitely, gamifying your environment works really well. I think contact centers have been using gamification since pretty much forever, running contests or incentives, or if you have a whiteboard somewhere in your center that you update, you are already doing gamification. So I think we know it works. Often it's time consuming, the reporting is just not quite right, somebody has to do it manually, and that it takes a lot of time. And when you have to choose between managing performance and engaging your agents, sometimes or often that gamification aspect just gets dropped and you focus on performance. But having the right concept with the right platform in place will allow you to support that concept and keep it alive in your center, not because it's flavor of the week or flavor of the month, but because it's part of your culture. And Matt alluded to this earlier about creating that personalized connection with the agents, with the center, with the results, and with their colleagues. And this is what employee engagement is. Actually, when we talk with a lot of customers and potential customers, when we meet with demos, employee engagement has a very different definition depending on who you talk to. The same company will have different opinions based on their work titles. So it's all about, when you boil it down to the reality, it's all about creating that personal connection. Employees' psychological investment in their organization is the key piece, because it becomes personal, it becomes attached. You are attached to the success, and you're attached to your success. It happens with gamification concepts that are used in marketing, in sales, in advertising, and in trainings or in classes, in classrooms, because you become personally involved in that concept. So bringing that same rationale to your contact center will definitely help improve performance, but over and above, create an environment where agents have a bit more fun, more motivated, more engaged, and ultimately the goal is to influence their behavior to keep them longer. So have them stay on board and reduce attrition. So gamifying your KPIs is not about creating a game. It's about using game elements, game designs, game concepts, and applying them to the KPIs that you're measuring. That's really the reality of today's contact center agents. If you work in a contact center, you will have KPIs to meet, you will have objectives to meet on a daily basis. It is not an easy job, it's a difficult job. Depending on your call mix, any given day, you can have very difficult calls or easier calls, but nevertheless, you're measured probably on every 15-minute intervals, and I don't know many businesses that measure every 15 minutes. But the contact center industry, it's the reality. So how can we make it more fun, more engaging, more motivating? And this is where gamifying your KPIs comes into play. Adding concepts to your results, to your agents' results, will add motivation, add actions that they know they can take to accomplish their goals or meet the objectives. And it's all about creating those small rewards, accomplishments, and recognition. And based on our, Matt talked about this earlier, and based on our customer base, I think less than 10% of our customers actually reward with tangible prizes, with tangible rewards. It's not always about money and prizes and gifts. It's about privileges. It's about recognition. It's about getting those kudos or those high fives. So that's what we're all about. Gamifying the KPIs will allow for this to happen in your center. Why does gamification work? Because it triggers those positive user emotions. It's all about creating positive feedback. Matt mentioned that, often or too often we recognize or we focus on what's going wrong. How about focusing on what's going right? And your agents do good things on a daily basis, day in, day out, and throughout their days. And this is where, creating an environment, a user experience that is all about positive emotions creates a very engaging environment. You can see a few benefits from creating such an environment that, about user control. What we're learning from our customers, there's a lot of self-management and self-correcting of the results. Agents know exactly what they need to do to meet their KPIs. And more our customers are telling us that the coaching that they're doing is changing. They're coaching a lot more on soft skills and quality and sales skills and customer service skills than managing or coaching on KPI results. Reinforcing good behaviors, I like to think about that, about creating good habits. So meeting your KPIs day in, day out, having that gamified environment will encourage that. Sense of achievement, of course, badges and leaderboards and progress and recognition do the trick, but also how can you influence that at those achievements on a personal level? So we have features like that. And today, I won't go into those features. I'll stay on the gamifying your KPIs, but it certainly helps creating that personal connection when you add personal influencers. Love to set goals and compete with ourselves. I think that's just natural. And when you come into work, you're engaged, you want to succeed, you want to meet your objectives. That's setting a personal goal. And add to that, imagine when you're competing with others. So we did some proof of concept a few years back just to demonstrate that as soon as you put up a ranking, even a manual ranking on a whiteboard, it works. It drives attention, it drives awareness. And when you make that part of your day-to-day life, that awareness is always on par. And humans love to explore and escape. So Matt talked about creating a real concept, a real culture, using game consoles or online games that create this world that you can live in. Similar things can happen in your contact center, but let's not forget that this is a business setting. So we need to be careful to create the right behaviors, not generate the wrong ones. But you can definitely kind of create this small community for your center. Even if you have agents sitting in different sites, well, they can engage with each other through a gamified solution. So all that to say that games work, we know it works, but how do you apply that? So we're going to talk about a few use cases. I want to mention three. We're going to talk about what are gamified KPIs, what does that look like? How can you engage with your agents through sparks and challenges? So sparks and challenges are concepts that we have in our platform that different users can action and can take part in. So it's all about creating that positive user experience, positive reinforcement, all about making it fun for the agents to perform. All right, let me change screen 2 seconds. I'm going to go into a demo environment. So an environment, this is our platform engagement, and I logged in as Fidel, one of our agents. And as you can see, just a quick word on our engaging environment. We wanted to create something fun and engaging, visually appealing. You already see a lot of visual elements that are used in game consoles, like leveling up and progress bars and notifications for new things happening. But let's focus on the gamification aspect. So this is how we gamify KPIs. Gamifying KPIs means adding a game concept to a business problem. And here in this example, schedule adherence, that was one of the key, the top element that managers mentioned. But of course, as a contact center agent, of course, you're going to have a schedule to follow, and you following your schedule will have a great impact on the overall score or performance of the contact center. We all know that. But how do you engage agents on a personal level? So what we did here is we translated schedule adherence into a target. And each activity in your schedule is an opportunity for you to hit the target and score points. Of course, this can all be based on different objectives, but the goal here is to drive the right behavior throughout the day. So, of course, when you look at a percentage of adherence, the typical reporting for schedule adherence, percentages could tell you it went well or it did not go well, but what did you actually do that was good or wrong? So this is where driving awareness in each activity in your schedule will help that proper behavior to happen and close the gap, bridge the gap into more efficient or more performing schedule adherence with all the good benefits that this can give to your agents and to your center. Of course, it helps the center, but how about the agent experience? If you're following your schedules, but your colleagues are not following your schedule, creates unstable staffing levels, unstable service levels, unstable occupancy. When occupancy hits the fan, what happens? AHT takes longer. It just becomes more complicated to perform. And if you're following your schedules and your colleagues are not, it can become frustrating that people are not doing the right things at the right time. So this is where, when you engage everyone in that concept, everyone benefits, and it becomes just easier, more fun, more engaging, more motivating. And at the end of the day, you can compare your performance with your colleagues throughout the day and even at the end of the day. Other examples of gamified KPIs, and this is where game concepts can happen. The very simple game concept of using a progress bar, how are you progressing throughout your day? Very simple, we all know that concept. And when you apply it to KPIs, such as this one, we're calculating minutes or time, well, it's easy to understand that, am I meeting the right number of minutes? Am I following my schedule? Am I performing the right activities at the right time and also for the right duration? So we can apply this to breaks, lunches, online, offline, anything you have that is relevant to your organization to increase or encourage performance and productivity. With that game concept, that agent Fidel here knows exactly that today he's going to score points because he met the threshold. Other examples, and then I'll go on to another use case. Some of our customers use very creative KPIs like sales per hour, revenue generated, case closes, whatever the KPI is, depending on the nature of the center that we're working with, we'll have very visual displays that translate results into gains and gains into targets. And this example here for AHT on the left, right now that the target zone to score maximum points is here between 800 to 900 seconds. So an easy concept to understand, I need to aim for that to score points, to score maximum points. But we also applied an acceptable threshold, so that game-like component of not only did you meet yes or no, but how well did you meet, or did you meet partial, and then of course, did you not meet as well? So that's part of the game also. If you miss your KPI result, you missed your points. So that's how you gamify KPIs. And to keep that alive and to keep that fresh and engaging and ongoing, it has to be throughout the day and on a daily basis, a consistent basis. Matt mentioned earlier visiting a center in May and the latest results were March. That doesn't make sense, especially in today's reality. People get live feedback throughout their experience, whatever they use. Even banking apps will have live information. So I think people expect that from the centers, and the new workforce especially will expect to have live results into their performance, to be able to change the game and improve their performance, correct their performance, and score points. So that's the gamification or gamified aspect of things. If I just go back quickly to the use cases we're going to talk about, I want to talk about challenges first, and then we'll finish with sparks. Challenges is the word says it, is a game concept where agents can engage with each other. So what does a challenge look like? So in the hopes of creating an environment that it's easy to use and easy to support and keep alive, we have a feature called challenges here, where we offer agents to add a friendly competition to their day. So it's all based on who are your colleagues, who's working today, and who can you compete against. So Fidel is the agent logged in, schedule a deal. No, let me challenge someone on revenue. So I want to send a challenge to a colleague. As you can see, I have a few colleagues here. I'll send a challenge to my colleague Jacques, who will accept my challenge, and challenge is on. So it's as simple as that. As you can see, easy to use, simple to use, really quick to use as well. And now even if Jacques is in another department or in another site or working evenings and I work days, I can open up that possibility to engage through that challenge feature if I feel a bit of competition that could be fun today. So not everybody takes to this, but a lot of people love to add a bit of competition. It's a friendly competition, just adds a bit of fun and a bit of focus on that KPI. And Jacques received this invitation for a challenge. It's revenue per call. He wants to compete against Fidel. He wants to take on that challenge. So a simple game concept that can change the game, put focus on performance, have those two agents focus really on that KPI for that day, up their results, up their performance, score better, and ultimately win the challenge. So a simple way to engage with your audience between two agents. And we wanted to offer something that agents can control. Here you don't need a supervisor or manager to put that in place. Agents can have a bit of fun between colleagues. If I go back to my last KPI or last user case I want to talk about, it's really the Spark feature. And the Spark feature is something that we put in place because we also want to engage with the management team. So Matt mentioned supervisors and managers. It needs to be supported at all levels when you launch a concept, a gamification concept for employee engagement in your center. And the Spark is exactly what that is. So if I just go back into my demo environment as a manager this time, I can use the Spark feature to engage with my agents. So going to the Spark, I've identified in my leaderboard that, you know what, a few of my agents are struggling with the KPI. So Eugenie and Jacques and Umberto, and you know what, Hugo as well, are struggling right now. And I see this in the leaderboard. They are struggling with revenue per hour. So this, because we convert everything into points, it's really easy to see who's performing well and who's struggling. And the maximum points for that KPI is 225. So 95 to 100 out of 225, it's not even halfway there. You're not even at 50% of your goal. And you want to increase that performance. You want to engage with the agent, send them a Spark. That's a little fire under their chair to get their performance up and engage with them through the platform. So really easy to set up. You can override whatever recommendation is there. The Sparks are sent. Agents see this in the platform. It's all supported. You don't have to look for reporting. You don't have to update a whiteboard. It's all automated as if you were in a game console or as if you were in a social media website. So those concepts coming together in your reality about gamifying KPIs and enhancing that experience with challenges and Sparks will allow for a lot of engagement and ultimately a better performance because agents are motivated to score better. Just in closing, I want to talk, say that overall our platform is all about transforming the agent's day-to-day life. We start with them. It's really key to us, and we say happy agents for happy customer, but you know what? There's no customer experience if there's no agent experience. And this is where we feel that it's a great mix to any platform that you use, but working with the folks here at Quovim, where, whenever they have customers that have used workforce solutions, ACD, omni-channel solution, all the right tools to allow agents to do the work well, that's the great way to start your center, but how do you take care of those agents? And this is where a platform like nGAGEMENT could come into play. So that being said, turn it over back to you for additional questions and comments.
Okay, so we have a few questions coming in. The first one is regarding if nGAGEMENT is a partner of Genesis, and the answer to that is yes, they are. The next question we have here is how hard it is to integrate on the technical side. So I don't know if Pascal, if you could take that question.
Sure, absolutely. So I'll answer, we are a Genesis partner. We are on App Foundry. We're actually a premium app that if you are already a Genesis customer, you can just add our app through that platform. Also, from a technology perspective, we're very flexible. We have a few integrations. I'll talk about Genesis Pure Cloud. If you use a Genesis Pure Cloud solution, we have a full integration. So just download our app as you would do on a smartphone device. And then our app is connected. We just need to work with you to set up a few parameters around your KPIs, your objectives, and whatnot. And then we're ready to go. From other platforms like Engage and Connect and any other CRM platforms, sales platform that you may use, we can definitely work with those solutions. We usually set up a data transfer process through CSV files. We work with your reporting and IT team to get it up and running. And we call it the plumbing. So let's set up the plumbing. Once that's done, the platform is pretty much live. We get a data feed every hour, every 15 minutes, and we're very flexible. It works really well. All of our 25-something customers, 6 or 7 are Pure Cloud. The other ones are any type of solution like Aspect, Teleopsy, and Genesis, and Salesforce even. So a large range of solutions there. So to know more, to learn more, don't hesitate to go on our website and ask for a demo presentation. We'll definitely dig into that question much further.
Perfect, thank you. So we have another question coming in regarding schedules. Are they manually built or do they get pulled from Optimizer?
Pulled from Optimizer, that's a great question. Actually, there's no manual entry. We discovered very early on when we did proof of concept that manual entry or manual updates are a pain, are difficult to manage, and there's always something wrong with that. So we work with your teams, and with Optimizer, we have experience with Optimizer, and even Quovim is really great at helping us connect to your optimizer platform and get that data feed pretty much live. So yeah, definitely live data feed.
Perfect. So the next question we have is what kind of benefits have you seen in the contact center with about 85 agents?
So yeah, whatever size, we see results based on, an audience of 25 agents and upwards of thousands of agents. The benefits are usually within a few weeks. We see that behavior change happen really quickly. As you can imagine, when you gamify something, people have those natural desires to score and to meet the objective and to not be at the bottom of the leaderboard. So definitely we see very good improvement. I've recently looked at one of our customer driving down AHT. What they did there is really great. They felt that their AHT target was good, so they did time in motion, and they were comfortable with something like 6 minutes AHT. But everybody was trending at 7 or 8 minutes. So what we did is instead of looking at overall AHT, we broke down in the platform talk time, wrap up time, and hold time, and we drove awareness to these 3 behaviors. And driving awareness there, like cut in half the after call work time. So it was kind of impressive that they were struggling with, when looking at AHT and trying to manage down, we learned really quickly that talk time and hold were under control, but average after call work was struggling. So driving awareness to that helped greatly. We're still looking into, how does that translate to that center's benefits, but definitely they're able to take more calls. They're able to cut down on overtime that they've been spending to compensate for that additional time spent on calls. So great success there.
Perfect. Another question about KPIs. Are they adjustable on the fly?
They can be adjusted as long as it's done for a future date. It cannot be done throughout the day, but as long as it's done, let's say for next Monday, today for next Monday, it's good. We have a few game mechanics happening that take 1-2 days to close, so we can't change KPIs or objectives throughout the day, but definitely for a future date, as soon as 2-3 days from now, definitely possible.
The next question is regarding agents and how they integrate with nGAGEMENT, and not to deter from the productivity of the day. So
that's a great question. I come from a workforce background, and I was very worried at the beginning to create the wrong behaviors. So what we did is since the beginning, we tracked the amount of time that our users are spending in the platform, but active navigation, right? You can keep your platform open all day, but we won't capture that time. But when you're clicking around and you're navigating an engagement, we're measuring that. And right now, the average is about 9 minutes per day, which is really, really low if you think about it. 9 minutes to get benefits on all KPIs. It's not a lot of time spent. And I went quickly into the demo, but as soon as agents start using the platform after 2-3 days, as you would do with a smartphone app, you know exactly what you need to do. The level of interaction is also limited. You cannot spend your day challenging everyone. At some point, there's a cap on everything. But no wrong behaviors from any of our customers, and the average time spent is about 9 minutes per day.
And do you have any success stories you can share from some of your clients, like cost analysis to show ROI, such as improvement on billable minutes, hours, and attribution?
Yeah, definitely. So you know what? We have a lot of success stories that we can share. Get in touch with us through our website, and Jordan, my colleague, will gladly send them your way. But I'll talk about a few. Recently, we just launched our platform in the UK with Ticketing Customer Service Center, where just by driving awareness and gamifying number of calls per hour, we were able to improve by 1 call per hour for each agent. So that's kind of massive because they were taking 8 or 9 calls on average, and now they're at about 10 or 11 calls per hour. So without impact on quality, but because we're also capturing quality, and quality is kind of improving as well. So very great success there. It's an easy one, right? As soon as you drive awareness and you get that game concept in place, agents take to it and definitely improve the performance. For each of our customers, whatever your performance is, driving awareness on schedule adherence is key, is a huge success. Driving that schedule adherence target will influence behavior, drive awareness on behavior, make sure that agents follow their schedule, and we see ROI within a few months just with that KPI. So we can definitely go into further details and demonstrate that data. But working with our customers, we run data before and after, and we could quickly see points increase. And if your points increase, it's because you're meeting your KPIs better.
One more here is, can I have one group or a team have one statistic to meet and have another group have a different statistic to meet?
Definitely. So it will.
Sorry, I said that wrong.
Okay.
Can I have one group or team have one statistic to meet and have another group have a different statistic to meet for the same category?
No, definitely. So our platform is based, we come from a contact center industry, so definitely we thought about that at the beginning. We're going to replicate exactly your org. So if you have 500 agents that break down in 5 different departments that have 100 agents each, and each of those departments have different KPIs or same KPIs but different objectives, we'll set that up. So definitely it needs to make sense. That's the requirement number 1. To engage with an audience, it has to be meaningful. So for if department customer service has 5 KPIs with a set of objectives, and your other department, which is called, let's say, sales, has some of the same KPIs and new ones with different objectives, we will set that up accordingly so it's meaningful and makes sense for the audience.
Okay, that's it. Any further questions, everyone? I got one more. Have you heard of any agents complaining to HR because they feel bad that they are low on the leaderboard?
That's actually a very good question. We have a few customers that have union environments, and of course that was a concern of theirs. What we did is we worked with them. What we do is we show a limited leaderboard. We only show top 5 instead of the full contact center. There are ways around this, but we've never had any complaints about agents complaining about our platform. We work with HR as well. Some of the cases with customers, we work with operations, we work with HR, a lot of change management happening, but they quickly realize that, saying competition is always healthy, is always good. And definitely we have that union feature where you can limit visibility. And as you saw in the challenge, when I challenged Jaku, I saw his ranking. In a limited version, I would not see his ranking. So I would be able to challenge a colleague without knowing the ranking. So there's some ways to add a bit of anonymity to the results. And some of our customers have actually elected to use only first names. So first name basis, no last name. So depending on your reality, we can definitely adjust. But so far, no bad feedback about this type of issue.
Okay, that's it. I just want to thank everyone again for taking the time to registering and listening to this. If you have any further questions, by all means, you could shoot us an email. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.